gas or, food or whatever like that. You just got to know the verbiage and know, how to send it with the memorandum and stuff like that. It's so simple, but people are not taught this stuff.
Yeah, because when you said negotiable instrument, I thought bill of exchange, and I think it.
Go ahead, Red.
Well, we're talking about instruments, checks, negotiable instruments, bill of exchange. They're all instruments. It's kind of the same thing. But I just want to back it up a little bit so you can, where you can see it in real life. So if you're 17 and a half, right? You're about to graduate college. You want to go to college. You need $100,000 to go to college. What do? Mm-hmm. You fill out an application, right? And they give you the money. Right. You skedaddle on to school. You want a house, right? What do? You fill out an application. They give you the money. It doesn't matter if you ever had this money before. It doesn't matter if you earn the money. It doesn't matter if you're capable of even holding a mortgage, which we find out most people aren't because of all these foreclosures, right? So the only difference is they've created the application for you. They created the note for you. They created the draft for you. And this is just
who is they?
Exactly. The Federal Reserve.
No, the banks. No, the banks. Every time you go get a school loan, you're going through a bank. Every time you're going through a school loan, what is the Treasury? What is the IRS? They're nothing but a bank.
And so
what is if you go look at Black Law Dictionary, what is the word of court? Bank. It's all a banking system. It's all a trust banking system.
And what they don't tell you is they're putting themselves in our place. Because we're not giving them instructions on what to do. It's just an open negotiable instrument.
But you know why they're making us the trust and they're becoming a beneficiary because we're giving them the trust. Every time that you give somebody something, right? You give it to them, they make you the trust, then they become a beneficiary. That's the reason why they're allowed to sign whoever they want as a trustee. And who they're going to make the trustee. They're going to make you, when you get a mortgage, if you look on your mortgage paperwork and you go inside there, because some of you guys got houses, look, they made you the trustee. You made you the beneficiary. They made you the trustee. And that's one of the reasons why people got to understand that it's all a banking system. And you got to understand that everything that you do, even when you're in school, what did they ask you for? They asked you for your birth certificate and your social security card. You didn't have no ID at 6 years old. So they used your Social Security trust to even pay for school. I mean, you was 6 years old paying for lunches. You don't even know it. They giving you lunch tickets. You paying for the lunch and you paying for the education and not even getting a good education.
Yeah, what's so funny is every time he mentions something, I could just think, I just registered my grandson into school. At every application, y'all, let's think about this. They have a POA. You got to sign even to get the kids into school. So y'all are right.
That's because they get $50,000 per quarter per child.
But
they take it more than that.
That's crazy.
If you go to college, they go into your Social Security trust. If you got a job, a lot of people don't even know if they got a job. You got a pension and 401k. They go into your Social Security trust and they paying you your own money to work.
They go, as soon as you sign the application, from the day they hire you to the day you can retire, they get all them credits right up front.
Exactly.
Even if they fire you, they still got those.
Remember, they're creating the documents, right? They create those documents and they have us to sign them, right? And so, like I said, they're just switching places. But at the end of the day, like they said, the Treasury, all they want us to do is balance the books. That's all we have to do. We have to report it. So if we're sending something into the companies and they're not accepting it, now we just have to go ahead and go to the Treasury, like he said, with the negotiable instruments or whatever it is that you're doing, you just have to do it correctly. And so that's why I said a lot of these things are not meant for a lot of people to do because you're going to mess it up and you're going to mess it up for everyone. And you'll experience what I experienced yesterday with Carvana, where they're saying, oh, you're part of those sovereign citizen tactic people who are sending in negotiable instruments. So they're labeling people like.
And you should have told them right then and there, there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. Can't be a slave and be free at the same time.
And I did.
That's deprivation of character.
Those people are, and I did. And so now it just makes me, I did have a moment of weakness because I never had experienced that particular portion of it. When I keep saying like, I'm staying in honor, I'm doing what I need to do, and I'm just trying to do the right things. But as you learn and as you grow and learn different things and you're reading these codes and they're right there in front of us or whatever the case may be, it's like, it's sad because they didn't teach us this in school. Some people having a hard time to reprogram themselves. A lot of people think like these are conspiracy theories or whatever the case may be. But honestly, you cannot get, because all I keep seeing in the comments are, well, how do I get the money? How do I get the money? If that's all
There is no money.
if that's all you're fixated on, you will never get to it. It's a lot of stuff that comes with it. You have to be responsible with these things. So if you're going to call someone a gatekeeper because they have a discernment to say you should not be trusted with this, then that's what I have to be. I have to be a gatekeeper.
Now,
If you ain't willing to put in work to learn this shit, you ain't ready for it, and it's not for you. It's not for everybody.
Tanika, I hear you saying the honor, and I kind of affiliate that with continuing to pay on the contract, whatever the agreement was. But do you feel as though if you tell them, or to, paraphrase default clauses and labor laws, if you paraphrase it, if that's kind of like...
I'm not going to tell them that because they know. Like, literally, this is what they do. These are the laws and the states and the codes and the statutes that they are upheld by. So if this is something that's a part of your policy and procedure, you know you have to do an administrative process before you can come and repossess someone's car, before you can actually take their house. You know that you have to send them notices, right? They know this. So the only thing we now as people have to know is that those same administrative processes they do, we can do them as well. Those contracts that they make, those applications that they actually make, those negotiable instruments, or those promissory notes that they're doing, we can do them too. Like I always say, we're made in God's image. We are his heirs. Like this land right here, we hold dominion over the land. So why are they continuously selling us our own property? Why are we continuously so we have to get reprogrammed to this. Yeah, I'm saying we, because I still have a hard time sometimes understanding, like, if they know this for a shadow of a doubt, why are they constantly doing it to us? That's because we as a people have not come together to try to start teaching people, creating our own educational systems. Because what did the Rockefellers teach? What did they put together? They put schools and put in place for the educational system what they wanted us to know. They didn't want us to know about financing. They didn't want us to know about these protocols right here, because they want the rich to keep getting richer and for us to stay where we are.
No, I understand. I agree with you 1,000%. What I'm saying is because I don't like my time to be played with. Like, I know that I've learned from being on this side that there's tactics to oppress consumers. You understand? Like, one of the biggest tactics is time, playing with your time and not acknowledging. So when I say to do this, this is also from the financial world, what I've learned, what they will intentionally do. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, me personally, I would think to do something like that and put a second letter or something with the request saying, if you don't adhere to this, this is also what the law say, and I can also charge you a labor law
fee. Schedule.
Yeah, a fee schedule. There you go. I'm just saying, we you got pulled up once so that you can either, or you're still getting additional things by them prolonging your time. You follow? Like you say, a fee schedule.
This is the comptroller of currency. This is their handbook. This is what's going to show you how they securitize your assets and turn them into cash, and then turn them into cash again, and then turn them into cash again. And it walks you through every single thing. It shows you how they're gonna treat you, the issuers, the bank, the whole process, the risk and controls.
What's that website?
This is straight from the OCC.
Okay, that's what I was just talking about.
OCC.
OCC, and I go to the OCCC, but I'm gonna go there. Okay.
The OCC is the biggest gun we have as people in commerce.
Thank you.
So this is what we do, guys. All of us take turns. We'll come up on each other's platform and we'll speak. And I really wanted Amelia to come up here because of the simple fact we want to share, and I want her to share her story.
Hey guys,
please. I just wanted to share her story because she's case in point of doing the contract correct in the beginning. And this is what happens.
Yeah. So I want to say, the last thing they want you to be is the beneficiary. They will do everything in their power to make you anything else, the trustee or whatever else. They use the power of attorney to turn around and securitize your signature. So for those that have been following me, I did a finance agreement last month, and I signed my finance agreement as a beneficiary. And when I tell you these people will lose their mind, I didn't even realize, it's like I shot off a bazooka and I didn't realize how it was gonna like blow back on me. I didn't even realize how powerful that was. It took them about 3 weeks to figure out that they can't get the money from the promissory note, and they started panicking.
Because you didn't sign the name of the trust.
Exactly. I signed first name, middle initial, last name, and then the word beneficiary. And they started calling. They sent me a letter saying that I had to bring the car back in 48 hours, and I didn't do that. So then they called me in to have a meeting. They tell me we're going to have a meeting at 10. They sent a tow truck to my house at 7 a.m. And this man was at my door, ringing the doorbell, going off. Like, these people are actually losing their mind. But on paper, right, they can't even send me a bill. And they told me that the bank, the lending institution, was the one having an issue with my signature. But I had already called the bank. And I found out that they never even sent in my paperwork. The lender didn't have an issue with my signature. It was the dealership, because they created a promissory note. And when they try to get the funds, they said, you're not this person. Because oh no. Sorry, when I go next to my backyard, I get echo. So the funds belong to me. And I didn't even know that was going to happen. But now they can't send me a bill because I don't have an account with the bank. The paperwork is there. It's all perfect. They don't want to send it over because they can't get their money from the promissory note before they want to send it to the bank. And they're stuck. So at that point, I had the car. I had the paperwork. I put a lien on the car. And they had a deposit from me of $3,000, and that's all they had. So they sent the tow truck to my house. The guy harassed me so much, and I got super overwhelmed, and I have my kids in the house, and like you guys know, I'm pregnant. So I just ended up giving the car over, but now I sent them a notice of demand for the promissory note because the note is still good. The money is still there, and the note belongs to me. So I literally today sent off paperwork to the president. So this was all happening with Audi, and the owner of Audi is Volkswagen. So the lender was Volkswagen Credit. So I sent the paperwork to the president today, letting him know everything that has happened. But on paper, that car is mine, and that car is not even producing a bill for me to pay. There's no statement. There's no account for me to pay. When I called the lender and I asked them, what's my account details? They said, we have nothing for you, like you never existed. But here I was with the car. So in hindsight, some people say like I shouldn't have given the car over. But my thing is, my paperwork's going to speak for me. And once they have to give that car back, it's going to be that much more gratifying. Because not only do I have a lien on the vehicle, they don't have a lien on the vehicle. Sorry, baby, I'm on the phone.
Amelia, can I tell you something? I had one of my students got their car repoed, right? I told them to send in an affidavit and an affidavit of truth. They returned the car the next day.
Okay, I did a notice of demand to the dealership finance manager, telling him to release my promissory note and to send back my deposit. And then I just kind of filled in the president on everything that has happened. So you're saying don't
send it to no president. Send it to the indentured trustee. Go online.
Yeah, I have his info. I have the indentured trustee's information because I was trying to send it in to get my securities. But since everything is kind of in limbo, I'm like, maybe it's too early for that. But I do have the indentured trustee's information.
No, get the indentured trustee because listen, you got to understand it's a corporation. Corporations are dead corpse. The president and the CEO and the CFO cannot speak for a corporation. The only person that can speak for a corporation is an indentured trustee.
Okay. So yeah, I have all my paperwork together. I guess I would just have to make copies and send it off to him.
Do you have? I got a question. Do you have a copy?
I even have the indentured trustee's phone number.
No, I'm asking you. Do you have the
Hold
affidavit?
harmless.
No, I'm asking you. Do you have an affidavit of truth and an affidavit of bankers?
No, I don't have an affidavit of bankers. Another thing is,
She
the
needs to
same
hold
day,
harmless.
the same day that they took the car, they received my recension of their power of attorney, and I also canceled out their security interests in the contract. So I've sent those out also.
Okay. Then also, did you send them a conditional acceptance and a remedy letter?
So I sent them a conditional acceptance before then. I think it was 2 days before, but my conditional acceptance was about them saying that they wanted the car back. So I said I will conditionally return the car if you give me XYZ. But
No. Why would you? But why would you surrender your property?
well, what I was asking them to give me was kind of impossible, so I knew that they weren't going to do that. Like, I wanted a letter from the lender saying that they had an issue with my signature. I wanted the promissory note. Like, I made a crazy list of things that was never going to happen.
Yeah, but you should tell them this is your property. You're not returning it. It's already been prepaid for out of your certificate of trust. That's the reason why you need that remedy letter also.
Right. So
Because it lets
I
them
guess
know-
that wasn't like the best way to word it, but I figured that they
Right.
wouldn't be able to do the list anyway.
Yeah, it ain't about the list because you know they're going to commit fraud. They're banks. And then you have to hold them in honor, in our honor. And you know they're not going to honor it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the reasons why. And then you also need to send in 3848A and complain. And then what you need to do next is go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Go online.
I'm following you right now.
Okay, go online. Go to that website, Financial Protection Bureau. Right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the website. I also involved
that should have been the
Attorney
first thing you
General.
did.
I'm gonna tell you about something about a way that they won't pick these cars up. You gotta put a hold harmless. Send these lien holders a hold harmless letter, and you can get that from SEC.gov. Hold harmless, and you can send that to these lien holders, and they won't come get these vehicles.
You know something? I think that I think she has her secure party packet, and that's a part of the secure party packet when we fill it out.
Yeah, I have a hold harmless agreement for my trust, but that it's a different trust, like with a different name. So I just have
for the
to
vehicle.
change it.
I'm just saying, even you, Tanika, they say anytime they talk about repo something, you can send these same people that want to come get these vehicles and all this stuff.
Yeah, I would say, Tanika, try to get ahead of it because you don't want to be in that situation where you got strange men at your door. So this
Yeah,
is,
they won't come pick it up. They won't even send a repo man.
you know what was funny is I gave the repo guy, because I told him, I said I have a lien on this vehicle. He's like, no, you don't. I gave him a copy of my lien, and he was scratching his head. I was like,
You
it's
should've
okay,
called the
you'll be
police.
back. You'll be
You
back
should
to
have called
bring
the
that
police
car.
if you wanted the car.
But then you should have. I got some other paperwork too that you can always give to a tow truck
Yeah, I
driver
took his
because
information.
they're-
Matter of fact, I even took a picture of his badge. I took a video of him taking the car. I took his business card. So I took all his information.
Yeah, I got some paperwork. You send them and letting them know because you can sue them because they just committed fraud.
And they're
They
a
took- they
third
took
party.
somebody
They're not
else's
even.
property.
They're not even a part of the dealership.
No, they're private contractors, so
Yeah.
they already committed fraud. People don't know they commit fraud when they touch your private property.
That's why I said let them go ahead and take it. It's not worth me fighting with a man in my lawn at 7 a.m. when I'm pregnant. I'm like, let them take it. And I got my paperwork together. They're gonna give me that car back because God don't play
Yeah.
about me.
Make sure you send the affidavit in. They're gonna return that when they see that. And make sure you send it. If you need the conditional acceptance and remedy, I can send you a copy of it. Email it to you. Send to that. Trust me, they're gonna be returning that car faster than you got it.
So thank you so much for sharing your story, Amelia.
Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to Aaron. I see that he just joined the live. He's been like giving me advice also.
Hey.
Yeah, so Aaron is one of the people who I usually talk to you all about for the beginning when I was wondering why people were gatekeeping and things like that. And he used to always tell me, like, Tanika, this isn't for everybody. Like you can't, like once you learn that it's not for everybody, you're not going to share processes with everybody. You have to have a sense of discernment on what you do. So when you see people like Skip the Boss and 100K and people like Aaron and Frank and all of these other beautiful people, Red and things like that, they'll share certain things with you, but only to an extent. Like you can only lead people so far. And like I said, this may sound like conspiracy theory to some people, but Red is one of those people who he'll bring the law up for you so you can actually see it in real time. I'm learning that Skip the Boss will tell you, like, listen, this is what you have to do. Like, you can't be scared of doing this. Aaron, I hear Aaron all the time talking about equity. Aaron is the first person who told me, just because you have a 98 number attached to your trust, that does not make your trust a foreign trust. And I had to regroup again because these are the way, this is how we were taught, and it was incorrect. So you have to relearn things. So don't be, what's the word?
And that is accurate. And you can actually get a letter from the IRS. I posted mine on my TikTok. You can get a letter from the IRS, and they'll tell you that you don't have to file the 1041 form once they confirm that your trust is foreign. And all you got to do is send them a letter requesting them to send you that.
Foreign grantor's trust.
Right.
But then a lot of people don't know, like when you have your trust, your estates and all that stuff like that, to take, use the 8832 form and go ahead and transfer, all your businesses, your assets, use your social security number, transfer all that over into the foreign grantor trust where it has only jurisdiction over it.
Yep, and you have to select the box, you have to check off the box on the 8832 saying that you want the entity to be, the foreign to be responsible for filing the taxes. So then when you get the letter saying that you don't have to file the 1041, then neither does the entities that are owned by the foreign.
Correct.
Right.
So Red is bringing that form up for you guys right now so you can actually see it in real time. Let me say this, guys. Every single thing that, and I'm speaking for everybody on the panel, any and everything that you hear today is for entertainment and educational purposes only. We are not giving anyone legal advice, and take what we're saying for face value. And please don't just go up in people's inboxes because you're hearing what they're actually saying here on the panel, and you just want them to help you. Don't do that, because some of these people will not, they don't want to hear your sob stories. They don't want to see your 10-page letters. They will not. And these are the people who I'm saying, like, you need to build a rapport. Go on their pages, see what they're talking about, build that rapport so they can see who you are and that you're worth helping, right? So don't just go in their inboxes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that form right there, that 8832, you'll be using that to transfer over all your corporations. You can do it with your social security number, take everything that they have out of their jurisdiction. If you have estates, because the IRS wants your EIN numbers and all that stuff like that attached to your social security number. So you use that form right there to transfer everything from their jurisdiction over to your foreign grantor's trust jurisdiction, where you only have sole control over.
Yes, and I wanted to say I have a template for how to fill out this form in my bio. I don't do classes and I don't have any consultations, but I do have some templates that are helpful. So you guys can just go to my bio and get the template there.
Aaron, can you give us a bit of a word of advice, or can you share some things with us? Just give us a little bit of knowledge, please.
Yeah, I've just been sitting back and listening. You know how I do. So, what I will say is that, just like I've told Tanika, not everything is so set in stone. You don't want it to be one thing or the other. That's why it's good that, Tanika has so many people on here with different points of view. Because what I'll say is there is no one real way to do any of this stuff, because we're all different people and you're not all going to get the same results or responses that, myself or Skip or even Amila when she's doing her stuff. You're not going to get the same responses. We're all different people. In court, in the banks, they're the same thing. So in any bank, you're going to get what you give. And in these situations, when you're coming in, you're like, I heard this person say that there's funds available for us. So then you go into the bank and you're like, I'm trying to access blah, blah, blah. The bank is built to, some of the bankers, I'll talk to the president of the bank and they'll say, we understand what the law is, but we're not going to follow it. A bank will straight up tell you that. No, we know Title 12, but we're not going to follow it. I understand how securities work. People are worried about their credit in a bank, or they're worried about credit worthiness, but you're dealing with securities. You need to create a trust relationship. If you have a trust, that's how you speak to people. And I heard Skip saying it earlier, but those are the legal fictions. You need to speak to other legal fictions. You can't come in here saying, oh, I'm the living man, I need $8 million out of my Sister Q trust. You need to understand how securities work. Somebody asked me, when I go into a bank, they're like, oh yeah, well, if you want a loan, you need to talk to the loan officer. I was like, well, I didn't come here for that. I'm an investor in your corporation, right? I have a security. And like we were talking about, you guys were talking about earlier, they actually provide the security now. They have the collateral security that they give you. But Title 12 talks about banks not even being able to loan the bank's assets or the depositor's assets. The banks can't do that. And the higher up banks, I always tell everybody, if you're going to try this stuff, if you're going to, first read and learn for yourself, comprehend the way that you understand it. But you have to go to the higher banks, or if people are trying to do stuff with dealerships, you actually have to go, as bad as it sounds, to if you're going to go to a dealership, which I don't recommend, but go to the higher ones, Audi, Porsche, places like that, where they've seen stuff like this before already. But it's not about, loans or anything like that. You have an investment security. They're a company. I sent you my security. Why are you telling me I don't have the right credit score? That has nothing to do with anything. You have my security. Once you've accepted it, that is acceptance. So let's move forward with this. I don't really run into any of the issues that we're talking about on here because I took more time reading it than I did actually, talking about it. And I've talked to Tanika about that. I don't really get on here, and you won't see any of this on my page, or because I'm out doing it. I'm out experiencing it. I'm out. I love that Amelia was posting hers, letting people know kind of the ups and downs. But you see how people are on here too, right? Oh, well,
Yep.
have you done this, or have you got Remy? Why are you worried about what I got? Like, you're not me. Go in there and try it for yourself. Go in there and perform for yourself. This stuff is it's not what everybody thinks it is. That's what I'll say. It's very base level. It's very simple to do, but trying to follow a process that somebody else had success with is tough because you're not that somebody else. They read it for themselves. They learned it for themselves. And I think that's why, for me, I can't charge or do anything like that. But also, I'm not going to deal with everybody. You can get in my inbox all you want, but I just don't. Because don't hit people up because your bills are due. Don't hit people up because you're trying to get out of paying bills. Hit people up because you want to learn something, or well, I heard the 1099 process was this. Oh, I heard that you had to go through this to get it. Well, just pick one thing and follow it.
Yeah.
Get all the way through it, and then you can tell somebody, well, I did this, and this was my experience. That's better than being like, well, I heard this, and then you read 10 pages in a book, and now you're charging people $50 to come and read 10 pages in a book instead of just telling them what book you read so they can figure it out for themselves. And we don't have any of this stuff on social media. We don't have people, oh, that's not true, you can't do that. Imagine learning, being a lawyer. That's what I'm dealing with right now, a lawyer. He was a lawyer for the SEC for 30 years. And now he helps people with homes. So we're working on stuff from the front end. I don't like going on the back end and, oh yeah, well, I already signed the promissory note, so you owe me money. No. You do stuff from the front. And he said, well, I'm actually intrigued, because I told him, I was like, you're an SEC lawyer and you don't know about this? You talk about securities, that's your job for 30 years and you don't know about this? But because I'm well read and well learned in this stuff, I can explain to him the process. So you guys have to be wolves in sheep's clothing, right? So I tell people, you're not going in there asking for anything different. It's still a credit application, but it's, when you're at the bank, it's a security though. So when you get the credit application, fill it out like a security, endorse it properly, and you're going to give it to the same people. They're going to do the same thing with it. Like Amelia was saying, I'm not getting a presentment. The people that I help, they don't get presentment, but they also don't get this pushback either, because they're doing all rights reserved. They're doing without recourse. That means the bank can't come back on you, right? Because it's the bank's duty to repay all this stuff back. The bank has to be credit worthy. The bank has to sign on a promissory note with the Federal Home Loan Bank or the Federal Reserve Bank saying that they are going to pay this back. So what do? They make you sign a promissory note saying that you promise to pay them back. So if you sign all rights reserved without recourse, they can't come back at you for it, and then they end up doing what they're going to do anyway, which is using your security as a collateral security. So they get the money off that, and then nobody's the wiser. But if you go in there barking stuff at them like a State National or whatever, now they're going to be like, oh, no, we don't do that. I've never heard of that before. So everything is about being calm, and the process is the same process, but now you know how to protect yourself. Simple as that. It really is all that. It's nothing more than that. If you want to get a loan, go in there and then get an extension of credit. It's your credit that you're extending. No bank can do anything without you. They don't have any assets. They can't use the bank assets. They don't have anything without your note that they give you. So that's the issue I think people are running into when you create your own. They're like, well, what bank is that backed by? So skip a step and get their note and then fill it out properly and give it back to them. Now you can have that conversation. You already accepted my note. You know what you have to do with that. I'm not barking anything at anybody. I'm not hiding processes because I don't think that there really truly are processes. I think that if you know what you're doing, you can make your own paperwork. You can make your own process, or you can use theirs the right way. Simple as that. There's really nothing else.
Can I follow up on what you're saying, Aaron?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so one of the things that we have to really understand is that you have, a Social Security trust and with your Social Security number and everything like that. So they're using their securities and everything like that to be able to attain our wealth, right? For their purposes. One of the things that they don't want people to understand is how to create a CPN number, which is a credit privacy number. Okay. A lot of people think that you have to use your Social Security number because they taught you your whole entire life that you had one Social Security number that you had to use and you got bad credit or whatever like that. Then people going crazy, losing their houses, going homeless and all that. They never taught you how to create a CPN. Now, if you look at the Credit Privacy Act, 1974 Credit Privacy Act says you do not have to use your Social Security number to obtain credit. And also not to obtain credit, but to give to any government agency. You never have to give it out to anybody. So what does that mean? So that's one of the reasons why you could use an EIN number to obtain business credit, or you can use a CPN and people don't know that you can make millions of CPNs. You don't, and you can put them in your name. That's not considered identity theft if something is in your name or your trust name or a name with identification. But there's no such thing as identity theft. I mean, there's the only thing as identity theft if you steal someone else's trust.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the biggest thing is when people get in cars and houses, they need to be creating CPNs and going to go get a house unconventional. Going to go get the car, you know what I'm saying? Because you got 20 of them. If you got that one Social Security number that you got a car in, you can't get another car in, that other social because they put it on your credit report. Or you can't get another house because they foreclosed on it's on your credit report or bankruptcy, whatever. People got to understand the credit system is all flawed. It's all designed to take from your Social Security trust. Why you think they want you to have an 850 credit score? Why you think they don't care if you have a 500 credit score? Because they still going to your Social Security trust. They know that the people that have 850 credit scores are paying that debt to those bankers. And they know that if you're paying, then that means that they're going into your Social Security trust every time they send you a statement. Even when they close your account on your credit report, they done already still got paid from your Social Security trust. So people need to understand, if you guys don't research, always do your own due diligence and do your research. But look up CPN numbers, and they're perfectly legal. 1974 Credit Privacy Act. Okay. Yeah. So, and you have to know how to use them because you don't want these corporations and companies going into your Social Security trust. Every time you go get a car, they taking $1 million for a $30,000 car. You're going to go get a $450,000 house. They taking $1.5 million out of your Social Security trust. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why they don't want you to know about CPNs because they can't get into the trust. So you have agents out there talking about, oh, it's illegal. No, it's not. Look at the Credit Privacy Act. No, it's not. You don't have to give that Social Security number to nobody, not even to government agencies.
Right.
So once you learn the credit system and learn how it's all flawed, how all the banks, the credit systems, all the credit bureaus, all of them are all linked together to take from us. They're not designed to give; they're designed to take, to make sure that we are broke.
Skip, that's a good example actually to use because to dumb that down even more, when you guys are talking about what he was just saying about, you know, an 850 versus a 500, either way they're going to get into the trust, the brighter and easier thing to understand for everybody is the notes that you guys that we're giving to the banks, whether they accept it or don't, right? They're going to take that note and they're going to sell it on the secondary market. It's a security. It is that. So the reason that they like, well, do you have the 850? Because like you said, these people are paying these monthly notes to the bank. And what that does is that makes, so if I have a marketable security, you know, the maturity date is, if it's a promissory notice, within 9 months, which means they're making more money off the interest if you're going to pay it monthly than they would if you weren't going to do that, or if it was a longer note, or the maturity date was further out, or if you have a 500, you don't have a reputation for paying stuff back, so they're not making any interest on that note. That's why they want to know if you have a 500 or 800. That's why they're having credit worthiness wars in the banks, when in reality, none of that matters. That's not their note in the first place, but you guys aren't signing it properly. So they're selling it because you gifted them that note, so they're going to sell it anyway. But if you sign it properly,
Aaron, peep this out though. But every time you get a statement in the mail, if you look at how much they say that you say you owe,
that's what they owe you.
You're paying on a credit. You're paying on a credited amount.
Yeah.
They didn't credit your account, and you giving them
exactly. You gifted it right back to them.
Makes sense.
That's why they don't do paper billing anymore, because they're actually, the law of karmic energy states that you have to tell the truth at all times. That's why they always say most Satan worshipers are always covered karmically, because they're always telling the truth. And that's the bank too. The bank is sending you a statement telling you they owe you some money, and you guys are gifting them the money back in Federal Reserve notes instead of taking that bond that they're giving you and sending it to the trustee to pay it all off. That's what discharge really is.
Right.
And that's why they're like, well, we don't offer paper billing anymore. Yes, they do.
But you know why? You know why? Because 39 USC 3001, non-mailable act. It's illegal for them to send you a debt in the mail. That's the reason why they send you a credited statement. They can't send you a debt in the mail. It's against the law. Right. But you don't know that they sending you. Listen, they're sending you a credit statement, and then you paying it. So that's the reason why you won't see a negative sign next to the number and them saying that you owe them, because it's a credit account. But you're paying on it because you don't even understand that the account is credited and you're not contesting it. People don't update their terms and conditions. Say no, I'm not going to do this. When they try to we're going to update the terms and conditions, all that. They want you to go paperless. They use the old we're trying to save the trees and all that stuff like that. Right. No. You know that you're sending me a statement in the mail saying that it's a debt, which you know that's committing fraud because you can't, because of the non-mailable act. Right. So they're sending you a credited statement, so you got to know how to go and do the conditional acceptance remedy letters and let them know that you're sending me. Hey, you're sending me a credited statement. I need to secure those securities.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? Like in my case with Carvana, Carvana will not send me they won't send me a statement. And I've used everything from Americans with Disability Act, letting them know, I'm visually impaired, and they keep telling me no. Like literally, they keep saying no, we're not sending you a statement at all.
Yeah, because that's why you inbox me. I'm gonna send you the conditional acceptance remedy letter that I typed up myself. They gonna send you that private ledger. They have to send you all the statements, send you everything. You're gonna send the affidavit of bankers. You're gonna send the affidavit of truth. You're gonna send all this stuff to them. You gotta make sure that you notarizing everything. Get everything. I don't care what you send them. Make sure you make photocopies, because when you go to court and commerce and stuff like that, they're gonna commit fraud. They ain't gonna go.
No, they're not.
When you send the affidavit of bankers, they're not gonna sign it. You know why? Because they know they committed fraud already. So your house, your car, whatever like that, they're gonna leave untouched. That's what Amelia, when she got her car, she should have been doing all of that stuff. They would have never came and got the car. They would have left it alone, because they know they commit fraud if they come get that car. It was already paid for.
But she, what's crazy, and we and her talked about this, the only thing she was missing, and this is what the banks bank on. And again, this wasn't even the bank. The bank never got her note. The dealership is like, well, hell, how are we going to make our cash? She just signed this as beneficiary, so I can't even take this and get my cash, because the credit app she filled out already paid the car. So the issue with hers was she didn't all rights reserved without recourse. So guess what? Recourse. They're trying to come back and get the car from her. They're trying to do all this stuff.
Never put recourse. Yep.
Right. So the thing about Tanika with yours, I don't know how long. Did you wait the whole 30 to 45 days or whatever?
For which one?
For like the bill or whatever for the car. I wasn't here for the entire conversation.
So
else in here?
My car note isn't past due. Like literally, it's not past. My car note's not due until the
Okay.
car note is not due until the 23rd. Not due until the 23rd, and they sent me the
What
You
do
go in and
send
out. You're pausing.
you
the notice. I'm sorry, somebody keeps calling.
Tell him to keep all that shit out.
Keeps calling my phone. I'm sorry. They sent me the notice to cure, intent to repossess, because I reported them to the DMV and also the Secretary of State, and I liened the car because they did an electric lien, but they didn't transfer. They didn't do a transfer of title to me. So the DMV did an MV20 and said, hey, they didn't transfer the car. They skipped the process. So it's nothing we can actually do because they didn't do the dealer's reassignment form. So on the dealer's reassignment form, they didn't put my information on there. So it's just Carvana's information on there. And so that's what it was. So it's not even late or anything like that.
So, Nick,
Well,
can I
yeah.
ask you a question? Okay, I want to ask you a question. Did you do a UCC 11 search?
Yes, I did a UCC 11
Okay,
search. I got certified.
hold on. So did you see any liens?
No.
Okay, so now what you do is you go take that UCC 11 search, right? Print it out, take it to the DMV, tell them, I don't have no lien, and guess what they're going to do? They're going to remove that lien holder, that bank. They're going to remove them off of your DMV registration.
So this is the thing. This is the thing, Scott. So this is Skip. This is what happened. So in reference to that, I did the UCC 11. I got the certified copy. I took it into the DMV. And so the DMV, the manager came and she's like, okay, they did an electric lien, but on the electric lien, what happens is they didn't do the reassignment. So my name's not on the title because my name's not on the reassignment. So my name's not on there anywhere. They forgot to do it. And so there's a hold on my complete file because it's like they didn't do it. So she's like, listen, let me print this form out for you and use it how you will, because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They never reassigned the car to you. So they liened a title that does not have my information on it. So what I did was I went and I placed the lien on the car and put it inside of my trust.
Oh, so you own it. So you already know why
so
you're
you're
making another
good.
payment. Because you gotta
Don't
understand.
make the first payment.
Yeah, and then go. I got some paperwork too. Submit them, get your down payment back, get all that stuff. Because you got to understand. Listen, they try to pretend to put a lien on your car for 21 days. They can't put a lien on
So
something
they can sell the
for
note.
purpose. Yeah, they scare you and making it think. So when they file that paperwork illegally, within the 21 days they file a lien. That's the reason why when you go do the UCC 11 search, you won't see any lien holders because they facetiously try to put a lien on there, and then for it to register, the Secretary of State is not going to uphold that lien that they put on there, but it's on your registration. You will see that. But you just saying that they didn't put you on it.
Right. They didn't put me on there.
You got a free car. They'll never get another payment out of me.
No, they will not.
They didn't put me on there anyway. Because I was literally going to walk out of the DMV, and she's like, no, come here, do this, fill this form out. And she gave me, she gave me a packet, and she wrote down what they didn't do, which is the dealer reassignment form. She gave me the dealer's reassignment form, and she also gave me the title, showing that there's nobody on the title except for Carvana. So she's like, you'll forever have a hold on the registration for the tags portion of it because they never transferred anything to you. She's like, basically my file is flagged because Carvana didn't do what they were supposed to do.
No,
Yeah.
that should be incorrect because anybody is able to register a car. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Since they did that, if I were you, I will rescind those tags and put traveler plates on my car.
So I have a phone.
Because you're traveling in an automobile anyway. You don't need to have anything registered for them to have jurisdiction over you, over your property anyway. And then you already filed a lien on the car, so you already letting them know once you show any police officer. Well, I don't show police officers nothing, but if you were to show anybody anything, I got a lien on it. I own this car. If they want this car, they're going to pay me for this lien, okay? And put traveler plates on your car and never register it again. Take it out of their jurisdiction completely.
When you say traveling plates, is that like the DOT number tag or something like that?
You can go on Amazon or Google and
Yeah, he's just talking about private plates. He's just talking about private
that
plates.
has, that has UCC 1-03 and all that stuff, all rights reserved and everything like that on there.
So, Tanika, I'm almost certain that I know this young lady can get you your title because I had got someone their title based on something a little different. But based upon what you're saying, I think Jennifer can get you your title.
Okay.
You need to.
Listen. That's the thing we're trying to get everyone out of their jurisdiction, out of the jurisdiction of these courts and this Department of Motor Vehicle and all that stuff like that.
When
You
I
don't,
say
by
title,
law,
let me say.
through Congress, by law, you do not need any place. You do not need no driver's license.
Let me correct myself. She can get you free and clear ownership of your vehicle. If you want to do the NCO letter, which is she would have to also notify which it seems like you're going to have to do. She's going to also have to notify the manufacturer of your vehicle, which was it Audi? I don't know, whoever manufactured your vehicle. In addition to the bond agent and all the information you have, because you're not late on your vehicle, but they are trying to rescind the contract after you notify them. So this bond agent would see all of this information that you already presented, and then you would also create the letter going to the manufacturer requesting the MCO.
Yep,
And
that'll work.
You can put these private plates whenever you choose. But I'm just sitting up here listening to what you're saying. I'm just trying to tell you how you can actually get your documentation.
Okay.
I'm coming from the financial world. So because of all of this breach of contract, you can go through the judicial system, but you literally have enough to get an insurance company to bond your statement and relinquish this present lien holder on your title, make them get out the picture. The insurance company say, I'll put a bond on this lady's word. All the stuff she has presented, I trust it. I'm supposed to remove this person off this title. And if you want to include the signed packet to the manufacturer of your vehicle requesting the MCO, that will happen too.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Do that, and then the thing about it is the reason I asked you about the time period is because ultimately what everybody needs to understand about all of it, which is why I say the processes are just fluff, is you have to understand that if you filled out the note, any one of the notes, quite frankly, if you filled out the credit app as a security, if you filled out the note, that's cash or cash equivalent, that paid off whatever needs to be paid off, that's settled on your side, that when they accepted it, that means that it's valid. So ultimately, when you're getting these calls, the people that I just got off the phone with somebody before I got on here with you guys, I was helping her. She actually messed up and didn't reserve her rights or anything. She gifted them her public credit, but still, the bank sent her a letter saying, we're going to transfer, and you agreed to us transferring your security interest in the contract to another bank. So when the other bank hit her up like, hey, payment is due, I said request the paper billing. They were like, oh, we sent you already, and it was just like a welcome letter like, hey, we just took up ownership interest in your contract. And they called. I got on the phone and I said, that's great that you guys have interest in the contract. Congratulations, but you don't have interest in that vehicle itself. So, and she doesn't have a bona fide contract with you guys. So, if you guys can't find out who's going to send us paper billing, then we really don't need to be talking to you at all. Mm-hmm. And the bank was like, oh, okay, we apologize. We'll stop reaching out. And they had the previous bank that sold them the note reach out. And they were like, well, you got to call the dealership. And I said, I don't want to talk to the dealership. They don't have nothing to do with this. They're intermediary. So now they're like, can you come back in and re-sign another contract with the bank that we sold your note to? And I'm telling the girl, no, don't do that. The note already paid for everything. Unless they can give you the promissory note back, there's nothing to talk with them about. They can't send presentment. That's what's done. So you covered all the bases. They probably already sold your note off anyway. So I agree with Aisha. Go in and get that handled with your title just in case.
And being on the retail installment contract and everything like that, I did put, when I signed my name by Tanika, my hyphen, my middle name, semicolon, my last name, I also put on here UCC 1-308.
Okay, all rights reserved.
And why did they do that though? Because you done put the trust name on there. So once they done did that, that is a breach of contract. But then they just committed fraud.
Yeah.
Because they already went into your Social Security trust, took the money out. They didn't even put you on the title or the registration title with the Department of Motor Vehicles as the buyer.
Right. And they did. So that's why the lady from the DMV, I was finna walk out because like to do what I did, and I was about to walk out, and she's like, "No, don't leave." She said, "Come here, fill this MV-20 out, and I'm gonna give you every single thing that they sent us to show you that you're not on there as the buyer, and you're not even on there on the title." She said they didn't.
Listen, but that's even better for you because that's what I try to keep teaching people, telling people. Every time that you're doing paperwork with the Department of Motor Vehicles, you are giving them jurisdiction. Every time you do a contract with them, you're letting them know, hey, you own my vehicle. You just driving that vehicle. The Department of Motor Vehicles, you're registering it to them. You're just driving it. When you get a driver's license, they're giving you a privilege to travel. They're telling you where you can go. That's the reason why you don't need to do any of that paperwork.
I'll say this, before you actually do go in to rescind it, you need to change your addresses. You need to update your addresses to rural-free delivery.
Yes.
That'll take you out of their jurisdiction. So say in the event that once you rescind it and you get, say your people get the international driver's licenses, right? So you change your address and then you rescind the contract and take yourself out. Because if they have an old address, they'll try to do something up under the old address that's in the system. But other than that, they have to use the last addresses on there. So you use rural-free delivery and non-domestic,
So,
okay, but look, hold up. But how they gonna get your address if you ain't got no plates on your car? You got traveler plates.
No, they'll go look it up because that's what happened to me.
How?
So
They gonna need the VIN. They gonna need the VIN. Go cover the VIN up.
No, what I'm telling you is from experience, there's plenty of ways to find it. There's so many different ways that you've contracted with them, right? So what I'm telling everybody on here to do is to piggyback off Tanika. You need to go to the post office or just print it out online. But the form is the PS form 4232.
4232.
Okay, so you're gonna.
It looks like, guys. I'll pull it up in a second.
Look, what I'm trying to say is, anytime you're doing paperwork with these corporations, you are giving them legal lease over your property and over you. We got to stop doing paperwork with them. That is the problem. Oh, let me go do this paper. Let me go file this with them. Who told them that they had jurisdiction over you and over your property?
Right, but you have to. You just make the paperwork.
This to get this out. I'm gonna file this to do this. I'm gonna file. You're telling them, hey, I need your permission to own my car. I need your permission to drive. I need your permission to do this.
Well, no, not all the time. We can actually.
Yes, all the time. You're contracting with a corporation. Yes, all the time.
When you use their paperwork, yes.
Right. Anything that you do with these companies and any paperwork, you are telling them, please have jurisdiction over me.
No, it's contract.
Quit asking. You are a living woman and a living man.
It's contract. It's contract. It's contract law, though.
Exactly. And contracts can only be between two corporations. A contract can't be two flesh and blood live individuals. If you're the flesh and blood, you sign an all rights reserve and you're signing with Bank of America, whatever like that, that's an agreement. You are agreeing to do whatever they're asking you to do. You're saying yes.
That's why you create your own paperwork. So this is what I'm telling you. When you guys go into, like, with the retail installment contract, this is what I'm trying to tell you. The reason why you can't navigate or circumnavigate some of this stuff is because there are things you're going to have to do in the public. Okay, not everything can be done in the private. In fact, it's impossible to stay in the private. There are dealings you have to do in the public. And when you do that, you have to know how to contract. It's not about not contracting. So when you go to the dealership, when you go to the bank to get the note for the dealership, it's not about not contracting. It's about telling them, because they're giving you that paper, they're wanting you to just sign it, right? But you're going to tell them that you want to I want to amend this note. It's my note. It's my promise. It says I, right? I, Aaron, am going to do this, this, and this. So if you don't want it to say something on there, then you tell them to change it. It's very simple. When I go into the post office is for the living man or woman. Okay, that's where everything goes for the living man or woman. You go to the post office. So that form I told you to do that form, change your address. I put my last name as my first name, and then my first name as my last name, because I am... your family name is who you are. If you had a village, they would go to the Pink Village and they would look for Tanika. right? Your family name is your surname. That's the name. That's the quote unquote creditor's name. So I did my last name. The paperwork says last name, middle name, first name, but fill it out regular. Just put your first name, middle name last, and then do it like that. But everything goes to the post office. That's the living man's way to do things. But don't be afraid to contract.
The reason why, but people have to understand that the post office is the courts. It's a court.
They're all banks. Yeah, they're all banks. But that's how we do things. That's where, quote unquote, the fund is. There's bank accounts at the post office.
Post office.
Right. There are different ways to figure all that stuff out, but that takes reading. But what I'm telling you is you guys can't be afraid of contract. You need to know how to. It's very simple. It's not about processes. It's about reserving your rights on contracts. The contracts need to go to who they need to go to. You guys are thinking about, I need to do a UCC1 filing to protect. No, you don't. You need to sign all rights reserved without recourse. The bank knows what they have to do with that paperwork. It's very simple. You're just protecting your rights in the paperwork.
So why do you figure that you need to contract with any of these corporations?
I don't need to do any of it.
Okay.
Right.
Because
so,
see, that's one of the reasons why people need to be focusing on getting to their Cesar K Trust. If you get into your Cesar K Trust, you do not have to go finance a car, finance a house, get a credit card. You don't have to do any of these things.
Right, but you got to understand, you have to know how to educate for the base, right? So I agree with what you're saying, but not everybody is built. This is what I used. This is why I tell Tanika use discernment, because not everybody is built for that trust. Not everybody needs to access that trust. Not everybody should be accessing that damn trust. Okay, some people.
Why is that? Why is that?
But listen to me though. Most people are better built and prefer to be employees. Everybody has their own thing they want to do in life. So you're trying to teach.
So you believe a flesh and blood live individual, man or woman, should be a worker?
I don't believe should is not in my vocabulary. I didn't say should. What I'm telling you is the real thing about life is not everybody is built for this, and that's fine.
No, that's the whole problem. Everybody is built for this.
No. What I'm telling you is you're as a teacher, you're one person. I'm one person. Tanika is one person. So the education portion of it is this, right? You have to understand that. What it took me to, people are telling you, it took 10 years to learn equity. I've only been doing this for 10 months, guys. I pick up stuff extremely quickly, but that doesn't mean that the next person will. And then what happens is the reason that I teach it for free is because people are going to back out on their own time. When it comes time, because when you run your own trust, when you run your own estate, when you access your trust or whatever people are trying to do, you become the president, the attorney general, you become the police, you become the governor, you become all those things of your estate. And not everybody is built to run their own stuff. Not everybody wants to be the president of their own things. Not everybody can handle it. So when it's time to have to do something, because what you're not telling people about, I've been riding around with Private Place for a very long time, okay? And when you get pulled over by the cops, they don't just listen to you. They don't just do whatever you ask them to do just because you went and got private placing because you're the living man. You can't say that shit on the side of the road. You cannot do that, right? There's a procedure that has to go down on the side of the road. And with us, the cops leave us alone. They don't mess with us. But then, like 3 days ago, the cops busted our window out. They pulled my brother out the car and put him in jail. But I know what I'm doing, so we got him out of there. And now we're gonna go get the money from the cops. That's the easy stuff. Court is easy because I know equity. But that doesn't mean that the stuff doesn't happen. And people don't want to get their windows busted. Not everybody wants to get their window busted. Not everybody wants to tell a judge, mind your damn business. I have full custody of my daughter through equity, but that's because I told a judge to mind her damn business. I can't tell somebody to go in court and say that. Because what if the judge says, okay, you want to play that game? How about contempt of court? She can't call me in court and say, what do I say? Not everybody is built for this. I wasn't paying bills before I knew that this was a thing. Why would I pay for something I own? I literally have my vehicle. Why am I going to pay you monthly on it? That was before I had context. Right.
Imagine in Power Place, he's not determining people's fate.
Right.
They're determining their own fate. Just like right now in this world today, there's people who are still workers because they want to work. Everything happens for a reason, and it happens in its time. Because if he was like doing something with anyone's fate, then he would be determining it. No, you determine your own fate. Every single thing happens for a reason. Whomever you believe in placed you here, and it was gonna happen in its time. It wasn't meant for everybody to learn everything at the same time. It was meant for the Rockefellers to do what they did. It was meant for every other person to do what they did. It's meant for us to be having this conversation today. Everybody can agree to disagree. All teachers have different ways of teaching. So we just want to respect everyone.
Everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Nobody is behind anybody. Reparations aren't a thing. Nobody should be worried about that. The bills aren't yours to be paid. You just have to know how to do it. But it needs to be very understood that when I say it's not for everybody, I mean that not everybody will stand that test of having to go through the downs. Okay, there's no dark without light. Okay, how would you know what good was if you never experienced bad? Those things are duality, and not everybody is prepared to go through the downs that come with the ups. Okay, just because I say, the thing about the Bible is, if I say that I'm something, the universe is going to present me the people that give me the opportunity to prove that I am that. If I say that I'm the king of my surroundings, if I'm the leader of the people around me, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get presented with people that need leading. I'm going to get presented with people that want to do this or that, and now I have to perform. So in this situation, I want to access my trust. You know how much stuff the president goes through? You guys know how much stuff the governor I'm in Nevada, in Vegas. You know how much stuff the governor where I am goes through? How many different pieces of paperwork he has to sign? How much legislation he has to go over? How much, Nevada is an estate, right? Nevada state, Nevada estate. It's a trust. Somebody is running that trust. That's his job. You guys are going to be running your own estate. Every piece of paperwork, every contract, every fuck up or, mess up, that you go through, that's all on you. You're the one that's in charge of that. So not everybody is built for that. It's very simple. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I say I teach it for free, because I'll give it to whoever wants it. But the problem is, look, don't come to me like, hey, you sent me to do this and it didn't work. Okay. You asked me how I did it. I told you. I didn't say it would work for you that way, right?
I don't think they can do that. I know they can't do that.
I just wanted to say to y'all, because it's like 400 people in here. Yes, CPN is on like the FBI website, and the Shredded Privacy Act is on there. But what is not where is on the application. There's no slot for a CPN number. So coming from the financial side, if that dealer wants to charge you with fraud after you use that CPN, we can, and they will come and pick y'all up.
Aisha, that's good that you brought that up. Thank you, because I had lost track when that came up.
I heard you to help him out, but he
yes. So when that came up, listen, guys, about the CPNs, what I'll say about them is this: yes, they're valid. Yes, this, and that. But what you guys have to understand is, if you do anything through a CPN, you have to pay it back. Right? The United States obligation, that stuff applies to your numbers that you were born and given or registered with. It does not apply to CPNs, even if they're not belonging to somebody else. That number, you have to pay that debt back with cash. You don't get to discharge that debt to somebody or, send it to the United States, pay to the order of, and they'll pay it. Nope. A CPN needs to be paid back by you, or they will come and get you. That's how a CPN works. That's why I have no reason to do. You don't need to do them. You can discharge a debt. You can, there's a lot of things you can do. You don't have to do CPNs. I'm sure they work for some people. And again, I don't down them for the people that are doing them. Everybody has their own way. Everybody has their own way of teaching. But do for you what works for you. Do not. That's why I say, don't follow me. Don't listen to everything that I'm saying. Don't just take it with a grain of rice and go do it for yourself. It's that simple. Do it for yourself. Figure out the things, the processes that you want to learn for yourself. But, those things, if you can't handle the pushback that comes with these things, that's why I say I laugh at the state nationals, because I'm not going into a courtroom and barking at a judge for her to tell me, that the Constitution doesn't apply to you. Oh, it doesn't? So now what do I say? That's why I use equity. I don't have a problem with anybody in this court. All right, I'm implied surety on behalf of the principal debtor. I just want to settle the matter. Can we do that? Okay, well, I'm out of here then. If we can't do that, I'm not in here anymore. And the judges don't call me back. Everything is an order. Everything is about money. I'll discharge the summons. either way, court, bank, post office, the premise is all the same, but looking for these little sneaky ways to access FRNs. It's not, there's no fun there, guys. It's credit. There's no money. There's not $1 billion in there for anybody. A bond takes 3 signatures. Stop listening to people tell you to write your own damn bonds. If you don't have a trust, stop listening to that. All that stuff is let the bank create the note and you sign it properly, give it back to them. Put that stuff on them. They're the government. They're the United States. They're the legal fiction. It's their duty to do whatever they need to do with that paperwork. The only lawful money is postal money orders. Put that in your bank account and let it make you some money. That's how that works. Simple.
Thank you that you told that, because when I came on the live and I was listening, like everybody, I tell everyone, like, stop thinking about the money aspect, because when you start thinking about the money, you're going to start missing the principles.
Right.
Simple. When everyone keeps saying about, I'm going to fill up the 1099A, I'm going to fill up these funds to get my money on the back end, I laugh at people who say that shit for the simple fact, right? You're trying to get money back from something that they never gave.
Right. Exactly.
What ends up happening? So with the consultations that I get people who get notices from the IRS because you're claiming securities and shit that never even fucking happen.
Right. Exactly.
That's how I can tell if people really do their reading and know what they're talking about, because you guys are claiming money that never happened. If they never gave you anything, and we're thinking about equity, right? Contracting is between two parties. If the other party can't verify that they gave me anything, I don't have to pay you shit. And what are you going to do? You're going to discharge the debt because you don't have any signed anything that says you gave me anything.
It's simple as that.
All day. And we don't got to use no forms.
Nope.
This is notices that we send out, and it's simple. You have people on here making it so damn difficult. Well, I got to give me a trust account, or I got to fill this form out so I can get this on the back end. There's nothing to get on the back end. You're getting it in the front. If you got that car, that's your W right there.
Bilateral contract.
That's your W right there, because you can prove that they never loaned you any money. They have no ties or interest to the contract if they never performed. Both parties have to perform to the contract. If one didn't, it's null and void. Period.
Valuable consideration. And all they give is credits. They never offered a check. They never offered, and that's, again, in equity. If I come in as surety and I pay this debt for the debtor, which is usually your straw man or whatever you guys want to call it, I'm owed money, right? Tender for redemption at par, tender for recoupment. I'm owed money as surety. So not only when I fill out this credit report, this credit app, are you supposed to send the approval to the dealership, but you're also supposed to pay me principal plus whatever interest is going to be accrued on this note, right? So if I get a vehicle for $60,000, I have to give direction to whoever I'm sending the security to, because not only did I just give you a credit instrument for $60,000, but I did it as surety. So send the approval to them, send me 60 via a check, or send it to my account. And then I need the interest, all interest accrued on this note. That's how simple it is. That's what equity gets you. That's what you should be doing. People are worried about, but like we said, nobody gave you anything. You just got credits. There's no proof that they gave you anything. So like you just said, the vehicle, the house, they're going to foreclose on my home. How? Did you sign a contract with them? It's never the bank that you start with that tries to foreclose on you, ever. It's whoever they signed that note over to. They're going to come and try to foreclose on you. It's so simple. I don't even do administrative processes. I'm not saying everybody shouldn't. I'm saying I don't. The people I help, I'm just like, send them a letter that says, you and I don't have a bona fide contract. Please leave me alone. And again, that only works. These are my family members. I'm sitting on the phone with them too. The bank's like, we apologize. Thank you. And they hang up.
Yeah, could you follow you a question in Messenger? My mortgage is current. I just got transferred. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't like new commitments. I don't like commitments at all. I definitely don't like. Yeah.
I'll follow you back. Literally like I said, everybody just has to think logically. When you know the truth in court, and I will just say in all the banks, right? Everything is a bank. When you know the truth in the bank, these processes are great, but they really don't matter. Like he said, we're living people. So if you know that they need that first 21 days after you purchase something so they can sell your note to somebody else, now somebody else has security interest in your contract not the chattels that you're owed. If I have property, that's my property. I have equitable title to the property by ownership, perfected by ownership, possession, and I have legal title because I'm going to lien it, right? So that forecloses on whoever owns it. But now you're telling me you sold my note to somebody else? That's just like when a debt collector calls you, right? I don't have a contract with you. Stop calling me.
Right. So I'm like, how you just up and transfer somebody's note? But it was all because I asked my previous, well, I guess my current, I don't know how to say it, the mortgage, the original mortgage company,
right,
questions about how they were servicing my loan. They made errors and sent me an email back apologizing. And then less than 30 days later, I get notice by email that I've been transferred. And like you were saying, something about some electrical
lien or whatever.
Electrical billing. I don't do that.
No. She might be getting a call too.
For anybody saying that you owe money, like some people don't like doing the administrative process, but I believe documentation is the best way to prove your case. So that's why you get it in paperwork, so you don't have to do much talking.
Right.
So like I was saying earlier, if someone's saying that you owe them, there's nothing to get an affidavit typed up like, hey, I such and such can agree and attest and affirm that I loan this person this amount. Because what we got to understand in these contracts, we're acknowledging that we received something that we never got.
Right.
Oh, I received $30,000 for the collateral mortgage. I received, was it deed of trust? I received this large lump sum for the collateral listed at this property. But we don't go back and think, I never got $1. They never gave you a check. You never got a direct deposit for anything. So what money changed hands? Never happened. So that party still has to perform. So when we're talking about equity, if we're talking about contracts, they're saying that you defaulted. They defaulted also because they haven't paid you that whatever the amount was within the time of that contract.
Right.
It default before we even walked out the door because it said for a loan that I have received and you never gave me something. So you defaulted me before I even left the table.
Exactly. Right. Just want to make sure you get it documented so that when it's time to go to court, if you go the full route, you can enforce the judge. You can tell the judge to instruct them to perform.
Right.
And then I agree to pay anything that I lawfully owe if they can provide me with documentation that proves they loaned me this amount of money.
It'll never get there. Never. It'll never get there because you satisfied an obligation. Right. Mm-hmm. And when you have a duty to perform, the only person that automatically satisfies the obligation is you. You sign the promissory note. That's going to the bank. Obligation satisfied. I have nothing to do with this contract anymore. Quite frankly, like we said, it was void ab initio, so it has nothing to do with me. None of this does. My property was paid for by the note, and now you guys are trying to get me to pay again using FRNs. That's not happening. So if we're one of the people who slipped up and went through the entire process and didn't know about this stuff, it's actually easier. You're on the back end. You actually did it the way they wanted you to, which just highlights all the fraud. But it's just like, okay, well, it sounds like you guys got paid already. So what do you need my money for? You know, it's very simple stuff. And a lot of the times you'll get the bank where they mess up. A lot of the time now, because more people are finding out about this, like with Navy Federal and banks like that, Westlake Financial, these people are messing up and sending people their lien releases and titles, you know, after the 30 days on accident, right? They sold your note. They know that they don't have a contract with you anymore. So whoever this little person is down here that doesn't know they're supposed to be hiding it from you, they're just doing their honest job. They send you your lien release. You get the lien release in the mail, like, what's this? Then Navy Federal is going to send you a message like, hey, you need to put us as the lien holder on your vehicle in 30 days or else. And you know what you do with that? You throw it in the trash. When they send you a letter like that, throw it in the trash. Then they're going to send you another letter that says you have 90 days to put us as a lien holder or else. You throw that in the trash too. Eventually they're going to stop sending those letters because they know, okay, we can't scare this person into putting us as a lien holder on their vehicle. They own the vehicle free and clear. There's nothing we can do about that. It's never going to go to court. There are a few banks that are going to puff their chest right up until the day of court, right? That does happen. Some people don't like losing, but I think that everybody needs to understand the truth, right? That's what people get scared. One, in equity or in court or anything when it comes to foreclosures, you never argue amount. That's where you get put into their jurisdiction. That's where you get That's where you basically say, I do owe something, I just don't owe what you're saying. So never argue amount, argue possession. All right, foreclosure is about possession. It's mine, it's not yours. You are not real party of interest. That's the things that need to be focused on. I don't have a bona fide contract with you. Ownership, possession, do not focus on how much is owed. In fact, don't even address that. That's how you stay out of the foreclosure situations. But I mean, in bailments, in purchases, and all that stuff, it's honestly way easier than people make it. You know, there's no, specific process. They never offered you anything of valuable consideration. They're turning your bilateral contract into a unilateral one. That's fraud. That makes the contract void. So go all the way through it, and then at the end, you got your stuff the way you're supposed to have it, and you didn't have to bark at these people, oh, I know what you're doing behind closed doors. We don't care about that. Same with the cops on the side of the road. I'm not a lawyer. I don't care if you know this case law. I don't care if you know any of this stuff. Is this a criminal investigation? Oh, it is? Am I the subject or the witness? If I'm the subject, I have nothing to say to you. If I'm the witness, I didn't see anything and I don't have anything to say to you. And then you sit there, you don't say anything else. I'm not giving you my license. I'm not giving you registration or insurance on this vehicle. That has nothing to do with them. If it's a traffic infraction, give me the citation and I'll handle it.
That's a good point too. And y'all really don't need to argue with the people. Like if they're trying to give you a citation, I notice that people do try to go back and forth.
Right.
To tell you, on the side of the road is not the proper place to have court.
Yeah.
The thing is thinking about that signature. How are you going to sign that initial citation? I would put UCC 1-308 without prejudice, without recourse, because if it comes to where you do have to go to court, you can direct the judge or the prosecutor to read the signature line.
Right. You could also take it in and try to pay it. In the first 72 hours, they'll tell you no. Take that red card in that they give you to the court, and you'll tell the court, I tried to pay it. They told me no. I'm exonerated as surety.
Yep.
Plea of release.
72 hours, I would say. Within 72 hours, make sure that you try to connect with them. And do your research. Who's the clerk of court? Who's going to be the judge over your case? You can send a notice to the clerk of court telling them to do certain things too as well. You're giving them instructions.
Exactly.
You have to write a contract. You know where she works at. Send a private notice, a private contract to the clerk of court. You can do the same thing with the judge, same thing with the prosecutor. Have your documents in order. You're going in there with good faith and clean hands because you reached out to all parties as parties of interest, quote unquote, in your case. You reached out to the judge, let them know what you're coming in there as. You already had that back office conversation. So before you go into the courtroom, the judge already has understanding of what you're doing.
And that's a real special appearance. Not to cut you off, but that's a real special appearance. People will tell you to do special appearance, and you guys go into court and say, I'm here on special appearance. That's not special appearance. The special appearance is when you're mailing to the judge's chambers, to the clerk of courts, to the prosecutor if you're in a criminal proceeding. That's special appearance.
Yeah, just that's stating an honor too, because our job is not to alert the public; it's to handle our business in a private matter. So if you go into your stuff's already taken care of, the judge is already on your side because you come in there as a creditor anyway, because of how you're handling yourself. You already know they don't have no contract. You already sent him your notices that you've been corresponding via notary if you're using one. And then there's really no argument. There's no fact finding in court. You guys don't have to have back and forth opening statements and say, here's what I got. There's no contract. There's no injured party because you already did a private correspondence with the person that you need to be communicating with, whether it's the sheriff, CFO for whatever bank. You take the prosecutor out of it anyway. He has no authority in the courtroom.
Right.
So again, you guys got to learn how to play chess to set yourself up in the best position possible for when you. Don't listen to people that say, oh yeah, you don't have to go. Don't listen to people that say, just say this. You guys got to study and understand the rules. Civil rule, civil procedure, and criminal rules of procedure. Those are the two things you must study.
So, guys, I want to say any and everything that's said today, and I'm speaking for all the panel members, is for education and entertainment purposes only. I have been doing this for probably like about a good month now, right? And before I started doing this, and I had like to fight with myself back and forth, like, do I really want to put myself out there? But this all started with a conversation with Frank and a conversation with Aaron because of the simple fact I felt like they were gatekeeping from me, and I spoke with both of them personally, and they both set me in my place and told me to read a book and to not try to learn things so fast, and that everything is not for everyone, and I come to realize that everything is not for everyone. As well as 100K, and Antoine always tells me as well, Tanika, you can't take everything for face value, and we have to learn it. We have to learn different things for different people. These people are on the panel are not gurus. They're subject matter experts. They take the time to actually have conversations with people, and they actually care. And like Aaron said once before, I don't pay for the, I don't charge people for it because they'll count themselves out when it gets too hard for them, right? And so I just want you all to know that this panel right here, group of amazing people, and everyone, go follow these people right here because you will learn a plethora of things, okay? So Frank, can you please go ahead and bless us with some of your commentary?
Big Frank.
What's going on? I was just listening. I'm dealing with my niece right now.
Oh, you got baby, okay. So Frank is just gonna listen. If Frank has anything to say, he is more than welcome to come back up. Antoine, go ahead, and I know you're muted. I think you might be working, but can you give us a little bit of insight? I know Red is.
Real quick, I'm gonna drop down and let somebody else come up. I enjoyed y'all.
Don't forget, Aisha, that we need to speak.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
I'm kind of coming in at the tail end. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No,
No? Okay. Well, go ahead, Aaron. Honey, you are healing goddess. Go ahead. Everybody just jump in where we jump in at. Go ahead.
I guess I was just reading the, I'm in here being nosy, trying to read the comments.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah. What's up with you, man? But for the people asking what books to read, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that let it come to you as personalized to what you're looking for. So exclusive equity jurisprudence, just type that in on Google. It'll pop up some books. It'll pop up things. But what I will say is the reason that I don't tell the people the books that I read is because for the last 10 months, I've read over like 6,000 pages of stuff, and it's stuff that I have to siphon through the books and find the things that are personal to what I'm doing. So I was in family court for my daughter, so, I need something for that. Or if I'm going to a bank, I need to find a book for that. Or if I have a debt I owe, the books are not the same. And quite frankly, to be very, very frank, none of the books are going to give you guys the process you're looking for to handle it. It tells you what these words mean. It tells you where you'll see these words or phrases at. Go ahead, Antoine.
I just want to chime in right fast on what you just said, because what you just said was fucking paramount.
Yeah.
The books give you foundation.
Right.
Until you put your feet to the fire and actually do these processes, trial and error, get yourself out there, put stuff out there on paper and actually act on that shit, you'll never see any results, whether they're positive or negative. You won't even know how to pivot unless you actually put it into action. The best thing they ever told to me was you're supposed to react on 70% of the information.
Right.
Because then you figure out everything else, and I digress with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so with that being said, if you're looking for a book that's going to tell you how to go into court and speak with a judge, there is no book for that, because you have to go in and experience it for yourself. I could literally tell you what a judge is like. The people that I helped, the small amount of people that I've helped, I'm the type of person that if I'm going to go into a bank and talk to the bank about a note, I'm gonna have a camera with me. Like, I'm going to show you guys from me walking in the bank, me sitting down with the person, me having to get this teller to get me to the right person. It's all going to be on camera, because I'm not going to have you guys, well, what did they say when you did this? What did they say when you did this? I'll just tell you. So when you go into court and you say this, the judge is going to say this. You're going to respond like this. The judge is going to say this. That's what I do when I help. The problem is with that, you're not learning. You're just learning what I did. So yeah, it might work the first time, but what if you get a judge that don't care? What if you get a cop on the side of the road that don't want to hear none of that? Because for me, on the side of the road, a cop's getting beat up. I'm not dying over none of this stuff. If you pull me out of my vehicle, I'm telling you right now, to protect both of us, I'm going to stay in this vehicle. Right? I'm going to stay here because you have a gun, I don't. If I get out, the only reason I'm getting out is so that I have my feet planted firmly on the ground in case you try something. You're not putting me in cuffs. I didn't do anything. But that's me. Right? That's not you guys. You guys are going to do what you're going to do. My brother and I have been like this since before I knew any of this stuff. A cop was never going to just take me out of my vehicle and put me in cuffs. The judge was never going to tell me that I can't do whatever with my kid. My kid is from my nutsack. How are you going to tell me what to do with my child? My progeny. There's no way you can tell me what to do. So that is just how I was before I knew this stuff. Now I know that the stuff that I do naturally is the stuff that protects my kid. So write my daughter's information in my Bible, putting it in the newspaper, doing all that stuff that protects my child. That's very simple, right? I didn't have to do anything else.
Equitable notice.
Exactly. And all that stuff is lawful, right? That's the stuff that you do. And that's the real government type thing you're doing, because it's not about letting the government know you had a kid. It's letting the men and women who on top of this land. Exactly.
There was a 10-pound baby born, and it was healthy, and the name is so and so, and it belongs to this family, this clan over here.
Exactly. And that's
right. Prior to 1933,
a lot of people can't put it together like that because people aren't cultured no more. Everybody's just what happens in the last 5 years is all they know, really.
Exactly.
So like General Mail, I was explaining it to some kid yesterday. It's just like, it don't make no damn sense. And I was like, it don't make no sense because you don't know your history in America. You want to go back to Africa. You want to go everywhere else, but you don't know where you from.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. What happened, bro? Water? Go get some cranberry juice or something.
Prior to 1933, all births, if you had a birth, that's why you got grandparents and stuff that was born back then. Older time, they may not know how old they were. Right. And when they died, you never really knew how old they was because that stuff was wrote in Bibles and they got lost through our time. Prior to 1933, before the Federal Reserve Act was put in, before they made birth certificates mandatory, all of our shit was in Bibles. That's what this man said, right. And that makes it lawful.
Well, you gotta
it was already doing that before.
Age wasn't a thing back then neither. Age wasn't a big deal.
Exactly.
Because there were women getting married at 16, 15, going and starting a whole family.
Right.
The moment she could catch a period, they was out there trying to have babies with them. So it's like when I was explaining General Mail, I was like, you go think the Wild West, right? Now, mind you, we ain't never went east. This is still the Wild West. That's why we bear arms and all that. That people don't want to. Like, that's the real culture behind America is guns. But this is the Wild West, and in the Wild West, they ain't had no mailman dropping stuff off, leaving it on top of you.
Right.
There was wild, crazy outlaws and all that. So you had to go to the post office personally every week or every month or so, and all the post offices were connected. So you would tell the post office, like, yo, I'm heading down east. You could see me in the Bethlehem post office probably next month. So they'll go ahead and amongst themselves, they'll send everything that ever comes in to the Bethlehem location. So if anything comes over to Tennessee, it's going to get transferred to the Bethlehem location. And then you'll probably, one drunk night, you come out the saloon or something like that with your girl, and you just be like, oh, let me check the mail. And you go and check the mail. You know what I mean? Even jail is like for serious things. Because killing somebody, was morally wrong if you did it for no reason. But it's like fighting.
Yep.
Sometimes we watch a guy get his ass beat and we feel some type of way, be like, nah, he shouldn't have got his ass beat. And we'll do something. But then, there's times where, a guy might touch somebody that he wasn't supposed to touch. Maybe she wasn't old enough, and the guy go get his ass beat, and everybody's clapping in the background like, yeah, yo, let me get a piece of him, So it's like a lot of people can't fathom how this whole thing comes from. It's already happened. It's already been like that. And it's like how you said, how you and your brother is. It's like that's how me and my brother is. I'm not going to say we was ghetto and dysfunctional, but we was kind of ghetto and dysfunctional, So it's like you're not just going to tell me something. It has to make sense to me, because if it don't make sense, it's a lie. I come from a family of non-readers and people who can't write and read, and we're not dumb, because we're contractors. We all make our money somehow.
Right.
Like my grandfather, before he passed, he couldn't read or write, but he built buildings in New York. That man can't read or write, but he could count what $1 is. So there was
matters
no
to society.
paper. Yeah, there was no paper. He always showed me, like, if you can't do something on a handshake, you gotta understand that sometime along that point that guy don't trust you.
Mm-hmm. That's all the trust is. That's all any trust is.
That's all the trust is. Trust isn't like a whole paper. Like, nah, trust is like, you do something for me, I do something for you.
It's literally that. That's what word is bond. That's what word is bond means.
Yo, that's exactly how I pay for things. I pay take bonds. They go, of course I do. I'm like, well, my word is my bond. I'll be back. ROR, let me out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And he be mad because he accepted it. He the one who told me he accepted bonds. So take this word as my bond. I'll be back.
Yep. I'll see you soon.
but the thing is, I'm no liar. I do come back. Or like I tell people, like, yo, you want to kill a debt and you in court? Just tell them, like, hey, the most that I could probably do is probably $2.35.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge is going to try to send you to jail by asking you one question. He goes, how about $5? Can you do 5? Now, if you say you could do 5, what is that? What did you just do in court?
You just lied in court.
Yeah, that's right. You just perjured yourself. You just told the man the best you could do is $2.35, and somehow, some way, he asked you, "Can you do 5?" And you go, "You know what? I can do 5." And he's like, "All right, well, you can pay that shit when you get out of jail because you just lied to me. You just told everybody the best that you could do was $2.35."
Right.
So let's rewind. All right, bro. Love you. I'll be here when you get back. So, to keep in mind, let's rewind. Now, let's say I told him the best I could do was $2.35. Well, he's going to allow it. After he tells me 5, I go, bro, I tell him, like, yo, bro, I'd be a liar if I said I could do 5. I just told you I could do $2.35. So now when he let me go on my first payment, can anybody out here tell me what my first payment is going to be?
Nope. And it's going to be $2.35.
One penny more than $2.35. Why 1 penny more? Because now I'm in honor. Mm-hmm. And I told you I could do $2.35, but hey, check this out. I sent you $2.36 the one time. I sent you $4 the one time. But the agreement is for $2.35. So you forever in honor. Now, when I don't send you nothing, I'm gonna need you to look out for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna do it because you always stayed in honor. And that's why some people is like, when you just pay the bill, you just pay what's owed and you don't pay that extra. Like, come on, think about it. Like, I smoke. So if I go holler at my bro or my mans, and I'm like, yo, let me hold something real quick, and he go give me like $300 worth, how I sound going for another one, and I can't even drop anything on it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna hit you off next time. Let me get another one. They're gonna be like, you dishonorable little bastard. Take it. But exactly. I want all my money up front next time I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start having like issues in your trust relationship with that person.
Right.
And it's like I seen somebody say, "Oh, the mail is the court. The mail ain't the court. You're the court. The mail is your clerk.
Right.
They the one sending the papers around. You know what I mean? So there's crazy ways to look at things, but you got to understand how powerful you are.
But imagine that in court too, though, because people like to play that name game in court, right? People, I'm not the name. Man. But think about it like this, though, too. So the same way that goes.
Wrong, though. They don't even know.
Yeah, but so look.
I'm not him, and then they'll say I'm him.
Right. But then look at this, though. So now that same way, nobody has, true knowledge of the facts. Nobody was there when they were born. You don't really know.
Nah, you don't even have proof that your name is who you
exactly. But now look at this.
Your mom was like mom, like my grandma. My grandma got us all in the Bible.
Yeah, we're all in our Bible. Yep.
In a Bible.
We're all in our Bible.
Prince.
Yep. Same here. So we have that, but now look at this. You could go in there. Who's going to tell you back? Like we talking about the Wild Wild West, right? I got a guy out here in Vegas. He's in Cali. Like he redoes cars, so he'll refurbish the car, do everything to it, and the way he sells them though is through barter. He'll be like, if you got a couch or something, or whatever you want to trade for me for the car, I'll do that. And that's because you can't tell.
When you use the dollar, it invokes a whole bunch of other fucking laws. So,
but you can't tell me what I think.
Yeah,
you can't tell me what if you say that a home is worth 13.5 million FRNs, you can't tell me what I think. That is, if I have something that I feel is worth that,
and I could trade it,
and I can trade it, then that's valid. And the consumer
valuation in numbers, like in legal terms, are diminished. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Nothing. It's like when I traded my service for a car.
Right.
I had bought a Volvo, and all I had to do was fix Shorty's car. She was like, yeah, that Volvo doesn't work. It's a piece of shit. And I look at it and I scan it real quick, and I'm like, so I can have it if I fix your car? She's like, yeah. So I fixed the Volvo first. I just changed something real quick and then went back to it. She said, why'd you do that? I said, I'll show you later.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'll go ahead. I changed up her alternator. I rebuilt her head. You know, and I'm like, all right, we drive around. I'm like, all right. She's like, you need a ride back? I'm like, no, I'm taking this. Started up and I head out. And then when he was like, oh, cause I had got a title. I like having titles. I like to monetize them if I can. Like even after I get rid of them or even after I junk them, I keep the title. That's money.
It is money.
So, you know, like I remember being over there and I'm like, yeah, I'm taking it. She was like, well, how much you pay for it? I'm like, 3 hours.
3 hours, exactly.
I paid 3 hours in it. She was like, I don't understand. She's like, you got to put a number on it. I said, 3 million. She said, no, like a real number. I said, that is a real number, man. I was like, 3 million. Like that's what it was. But she's like, but I can't put 3 million on here. I said, I know you can't. You just got to put that it was gifted then. Because that's what I did. I did her a favor for her to do me a favor. So I gifted her 3 hours. That's 3 million. And she gifted me a car. And obviously my time is worth way more than the car because I'm a man. And, you know, once my time is spent, you can't get it back. I said, but if you break this car, I could rebuild it and bring it back. So, and we got into a big ordeal. And she was like, well, what do you want me to do? I said, ma'am, I just want you to notarize this shit saying that I'm taking it. That's all I want. I don't know what you was thinking you was going to do. She, you want tax? No, I don't want none of that. She, you want insurance? I don't want none of that.
Nothing.
I'm indemnified. I indemnify myself.
It remains a consumer good.
Stand and say I did him wrong, and I'll pay him right now.
Right.
That's it.
In court, that stands up. You've heard people that'll pay for stuff like, oh, you have outstanding debt, $2,000, or the warrant is $2,100, and then you got the guys that go in there with big brass and they pay with a bag of rice.
Yeah,
beans.
God, now that you say that, that was the first time I heard about the law tender.
Right.
It was like I was 23. Mm-hmm. I was just about to get my remedy for child support, and I was over here trying to figure out how would I send a special tender. And then it was just this. I was in Quebec at the time with my boy Carl, and we was coming back down to America. And I remember he was like, somebody had called for emergency, and he was the guy. He was the guy at the time. He wanted to call, so we go head over to this one court, and the dude paid with coffee beans.
Yeah.
And then. So he was just like, because what he did was, they was like, you got to pay the court monies. And he was like, what he was playing, he was on the semantics of, what do you mean monies? Can you be more specific?
Define a dollar.
You know, but they not allowed to define a dollar.
Exactly.
He said monies. He said, well, what about some coffee beans? And the judge said, I don't give a shit. And right after he said, I don't give a shit, he looked up and said, fuck.
Yeah.
Because he accepted that shit fast. He said, wait, without a problem, sir, when would you want them? So it turns out you had to certify them. So I'm like, how the fuck you going to certify coffee beans? And what we did was we just dotted with like a white marker.
Yeah.
You're just basically counting them and dotting. So certify is to say that it exists. Something exists. It's to certify. To verify is to know all the contents and to like certify the contents within. Mm-hmm. But to certify is just to count. So he's like, yeah. So every dot. So it was a 1,000 Colombian coffee beans.
Right.
And he paid it, and that's how I first learned about the law of tender. So it's like, it's crazy how like that's why novation's a beautiful thing, but it's also a curse at the same time.
Right. Right. But that's how things work, though, in real life. If you're talking to somebody, and it's really about, if you go back to the Wild Wild West again, you have to, instead of worrying about the banks, you want to talk about being a living man. If you want to really get away from the quote-unquote system, it's about building these bonds, right? So if you got somebody who's doing $300 million deals and this and that and letters of credit and all this stuff, and they wanted to work to get to that, what I'm going to do, the power that my brother and I have is I'm going to go talk to that man. I'm going to teach a man how to fish, right? Because now I just showed you how to get all the money back that you lost. And what do I get in return? I gave you knowledge. So instead of me having a contract with these people, now I can trade with this man, right? Yeah. Because he has that knowledge. He understands barter. So I'm not going to ask him to purchase his $15 million home. I'm going to trade him for it. You know, I just got you all this money back on securities, showing you what the definition of a bank is. That's all I did. So now he's like, I'll give you this house in return for the knowledge. It's like, okay, that's fine with me. I don't care about that, right? Now we don't have to worry about courts. We don't have to worry about banks. We have a trust. We shook hands. Word is bond. So that's how things should go. People are worried about the wrong stuff. It's very easy. You enter into any contract, you're covered. The truth in the court is the truth.
And the thing is, a lot of people are attached to all this materialistic shit.
Right.
Like you gotta understand. Like, to be godly is to let go of a lot of things.
Yeah.
So like I got the Harley outside, but when I was getting that Harley, you know, the threat of I'll take the Harley did not bother me, not one bit.
Right.
Yeah, every time they was like, oh, I'll take the Harley, I was like, come get this shit then, bro. You're still gonna pay me.
Right.
You know, like, you want to take the Harley back? That's fine. That's fine. I don't care. But I know what I gave you.
Exactly.
And it's just to show him. It's like, now all you did was just give me more fuel to shit on you with. Like, literally, I was cooking you before, but now I'm gone.
Yeah. So happily
like,
go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's like I caught him in the wrong, and I'm like, all right, come on, just come in with me and just admit you did it. Just admit you stole the cookies, and nothing's gonna happen to you, bro. They're just gonna slap you on the wrist. And what'd you do? You pulled out a knife, and I'm like, oh, come on, bro. You literally just made it. Like,
right.
You just took 3 cookies, and now you pulled the knife on me.
And the banks are good at pulling out. The banks are good at pulling out the cookies. Banks will pull the cookies out.
Like, all right, you right. I did a kind of
right.
Like, I pulled the knife, out. And I'm like, yo, it doesn't even matter because you already what's done is done. You pulled the knife on me, bro.
Right.
Now I gotta get you for the knife.
Mm-hmm. So you do some accounting, you're good. Everybody that knows how to do some forensic accounting or hire somebody that can do it, that's where the real money is at.
You could get the IRS to do it for you.
Yeah. Because that's what I sent to the mortgage company. I literally let them know, hey, here's my forensics accounting. And I asked them for their accounting and their books and ledgers and things like that. I still haven't heard anything from anybody yet.
Tamika, your shit is interesting because they must have did something very out of line.
Yeah.
It's not even because for them to try to vacate and rescind, or what they're doing is they're trying to do what's called an adverse possession on you.
Right.
You know, because
the car, right? The car.
Yeah, because right now they're in breach of their terms, the terms that favor them, not the terms that you guys were chasing. You're already up to date with your payments and all that, and now they're over here trying to notice the cure, you know. But I was telling you, like, in the notice of cure, there has to be an answer of what can cure it. Mm-hmm. That's why they send it to you. But if there is no answer to cure, then it's just, you know what I mean? It's conversion. It's theft. It's like, that's what they're doing. They're converting. They already converted it once, and they're converting it again.
They're like in a contract with themselves.
Yeah.
They're just kind of the recipient.
They're literally in a contract with themselves because, like I said, they never transferred the title over to me. They never sent the proper documentation.
That's a problem because they're supposed to do it on your behalf. Even when it's favoring them, they're supposed to change. They're supposed to do it on your behalf. But it probably has something to do with the whole COVID the whole COVID spike with buying cars and shit.
Right.
Because a lot of people were buying cars, and then banks, like certain like subprime banks will go out of business, or they'll get bought out. And then once they're bought out, you know, people can honor the old contract, but the old contract doesn't hold just as good as a new one. You know what I mean?
But literally, this is a new contract. I just purchased the car June the 8th. I purchased the car June the 8th. I did my UCC 11 search. I did all of that. And then I went in just to see if they would give me the title. And then so the young lady is like, well, we can't give you the title even if we want to because your name's not on the title because the dealership never sent in the dealer's reassignment form. But when they sent it in, your information's not on there, so they never transferred it. And they did an electric lien on the title, but your name's not on there.
Well, it sounds like an incomplete instrument.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It really is.
It absolutely.
And you know what they say about an incomplete instrument?
No,
the maker's bound. You know, the drawer is bound to that. The one who wrote that shit up is bound, not you.
Right.
So it's basically like saying, like, yeah, like it's like imagine if a bank was to open up a fake account. We'll call it a CPN, and and then they go took a loan out against it too.
When would a 1099-A acquisition or abandonment form be used?
It's used by your agents when you go.
Yeah.
So when you go buy a car, you're not buying a car. You acquiring, you acquisitioning them from them, because the factor is the bank. The bank already loaned. There's already a car loan out for the car that you're trying to buy, and it's through the dealer. So they're like, yeah, yo, we're going to be the factor and we're going to front you all these cards and you got to make payments on these cards. But what happens is they, you know what I mean, they transfer the loan to you. Like, so your promissory pays off the loan. That's why you get your name, that application pays off the car when you apply for it. That's why it belongs to you straight out.
Right. So when does the 1099 OID
that shit will go to you straight out. That's why I told Tamika when I first met her, I was like, how can you lien something that don't belong to you? It has to belong to you by absolute in order for anybody to lean up on it.
That's what I say about the 1099A.
It's crazy.
So when it comes down to it, the acquisition or abandonment. So when you sign improperly, this is just like an elementary version of it. So when you sign improperly, you give them your public credit, right? So now you have an unclaimed credits out there just floating around for about 3 years. That's what the 1099 is for. When they come and take your vehicle from you or whatever they're going to do, they file a 1099A on that property. That's how they acquire your abandoned property. So when people tell you to do a 1099, I say you're doing it to claim your properties. IRS forms are claims forms. They're not money. They're claim forms. So you're claiming unclaimed property. You're only using a 1099A to let them know, hey, this is mine. I have it. Promissory note already went through. We did a bilateral contract for it. There has to be a valid transaction. Then your 1099A is necessary to claim what's yours. You don't do it for something you don't have. Just like you don't lien something you don't have.
So was I okay with lien?
So I tell people, it's like you could use that to claim something, but me personally, I don't really need the paper to claim it. I could just literally walk in and claim it.
Right.
Because I'm the asshole. I'm gonna take it all the way to court.
Yeah.
If cops want to cuff me. Please cuff me.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna say please cuff me, but I'm gonna be like, that you want to order me to put those little silver bracelets on? Kind of gay, but all right, you could put them on if you order them.
If you put me in cuffs, you take me to jail. If I'm getting in cuffs, you better take me to the jail.
Yeah, don't take me to jail. You gotta take me straight to the magistrate, bro. We ain't doing nothing. We ain't doing nothing. You taking me to a magistrate, bro. It's 2 a.m. You ain't seen the magistrate. Yeah, he is. Well, it's 2 a.m. Well, how mad you think he's gonna be that you woke him up for me?
Right. Because that's what you got to do.
I'm not processing in. I'm not contracting furthermore, nigga. I gotta see a judicial officer right now. You just got me on with no warrant. A warrantless arrest, bro. We got to go see the magistrate.
Warrant backed by affidavit.
He said, what am I going to do?
Your affidavit, I'm calling you out on that one. I want to see you say that one on the record.
I want to hear that.
Hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, what am I going to do with the registration?
All I'm going to do is take the stand and go, that didn't happen. And now what? Now what?
Just like that. No, it didn't.
It's just as good as mine in equity. Now what?
Yep.
So you don't have an impartial witness, do you? Okay.
You're not even the injured party or whatever you're claiming I did.
That's the thing, though. I don't even care about the injured party. I just want somebody to take the stand and take on some liability. Who wants to go to jail for free? Who wants to perjure himself? See, a lot of people want to play the name game. I'm going straight to court. Like, none of it is real until we get to court. And when we get to court, I'm gonna make sure we're in the right court too. You ain't gonna try to beat me in the head with some little PennDOT court, DMV court,
them little state courts,
municipal court, summary case court. Man, ain't doing none of that. Nope. We going. Call the gods. I, a god, am calling the 12 other gods to come judge me. Come here. Come look at this shit.
So no,
I'm not even gonna. And you know how they say, "Oh, don't talk to the jury." Nah, watch me talk to the jury.
Absolutely. So first of all, if they're in there, then they're gonna be my peers.
I want to look at you.
Right.
Bro, I want to talk to my judges. That's who I got to talk to. This is who I got to prove.
They got to be my peers anyway.
Yep.
So this is what I have to deal with when they.
How you gonna find 12 private Americans before our trial?
Oh, I'll give you. I used to play like that, but bro, I get bored of it. I don't mind American Idol. I'm good at it.
They're gonna let you know.
I'm good at it. I've had them stop and do some wild shit for a judge to force a mistrial. I've seen some crazy shit go on against me.
In West Coast, though, where I'm at,
somebody just got up from the gallery.
Yeah,
just came in and handed a piece of paper. I said, "Yo, for real?" He said, "Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm gonna declare this a mistrial now." I was like, you guys really didn't want me to, because I was gonna get rid of parking tickets.
Yeah.
Where I was at, I was gonna get rid of them because I was like, I know y'all get paid. I said, but I'm about to get paid today.
You hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if you want to like use gold and make your own money, you saying, or you wanna know how to use the money order from the post office? Because you just said like 3 different things. All right. So them gold coins, they're worth whatever they're worth if they're already stamped. If you wanna put a value on your piece of gold, you would have to smelt it and put it in the proper dimensions. And then you would have to go and register that as your, like, intellectual,
right,
as money. And then you would put a stamp on it, and then you would record that stamp. And like, yeah, you know how you own a name, you would own that stamp, and that stamp would have a value.
That would kind of make you a financial institution.
Is my mic?
I don't know. Her thing is black. Her
y'all
thing is black. Like, it just says host.
Yeah, it's just her thing. Nobody can see it.
Y'all can hear me? Can anybody on the panel hear me?
It says she's low. She says her bike's low, but I can't even see her. Tanika, the host.
She's on mute right now too. Her microphone.
Her mic ain't muted on mine. It's just she ain't got no camera on mine.
Hold on. Can y'all hear me now?
But so the money order is just a conditional acceptance, bro. You're forcing a contract on them. Like how they force a contract on you with adhesion notices at the end of stuff. When you send your money order in, don't be super disrespectful. Like, you can do whatever you want, but you're basically putting the terms and conditions, and you're wanting them to cash it or disregard it. And, if they disregard it, if they don't accept it, then you're exonerated. And if they accept it, well, then they agree to the terms of the acceptance. So if I give you a money order for $1 for something for $100, and it said, but you got to make me a sandwich, like, yeah, I might owe you $99, but you got to make me a sandwich now that you cashed it. Or I could just say it's, to pay off everything.
On here can't hear me.
Somebody in the chat just
now, that's not going to work as good against a flesh and blood person because
they can't hear you.
I'm a god too. I'm not a corporation.